Good morning and welcome to the Smith School News Program. I'm Elise.
And I'm Colin. Today is February 3rd, 2017. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I love February, Colin.
You do? Why?
It's such a busy month. I love learning about President's Day, Groundhog's Day, Valentine's Day, Black History Month, not just day school, and sometimes even Chinese New Year celebrate in February.
That's right, Elise. However, this year it fell in the month of January. It was January 28th.
You mean I missed it?
Yes, but I'm sure Emma and Abigail would be happy to share with you some information and customs that are a part of the Chinese New Year tradition.
That would be great.
Let's watch.
This year, Chinese New Year was on Saturday, January 28th, and it's based on the lunar calendar, so that's why it always changes every year. This year is the year of the rooster. Chinese families have different traditions. One tradition that our family has is that we eat noodles for long lives. Our grandparents give us red envelopes called lychee with money in them. We also get Chinese candies. Another tradition is that some children stay up late so that their parents have longer lives. Lastly, we go to a relative's house and then we have a big feast. Gung Hei Fat Choi. That means Happy New Year in Chinese. Gung Hei Fat Choi.
Thank you for sharing with us these traditions, Emma and Abigail.
I learned a lot about Chinese New Year, but what about Groundhog's Day? Did the groundhog see a shadow?
Good question, Elise. I would love to know what the rest of the winter has in store for us. Here now with the update is our field reporter, Evan.
Good morning, Smith School. I am here in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, where every year people gather to find out if the famous groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, will see his shadow or not. Legend has it that if he sees his shadow, winter is here to stay for 6 more weeks. If he doesn't, we could have an early spring. Wait, we just got word that it's official. Punxsutawney Phil has seen his shadow. That means 6 more weeks of winter. Back to you, Colin and Elise.
Thank you, Evan. And now for an update on our Super Bowl food drive. As of now, the total food items collected is 1,474. Mr. Soslavsky will be giving an announcement with the final count and letting us know if we beat last year's total. Thank you again for your generous donation, Smith School.
As you know, this month's Go Red fundraiser is a mitten tree. Each classroom was given their very own copy of a special story. Here now to read it to you is Mrs. Scuderian.
Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to read The Mitten Tree by Candace Christensen. You know, we're doing the Mitten Tree project, so this is the book that coincides with our project. At the end of a long lane in a tidy little house, old Sarah lived alone. Her children had grown up and moved away, but Sarah still remembered the mornings when she walked with them to the blue spruce tree where they waited for the school bus. Now each morning, she opened her shutters and watched for new children to arrive. Here they are, and here's Sarah up in the window. She's looking outside. Let's see what she's looking for. The children. Every chilly morning, Sarah pulled on her warm coat and started down the lane. As she walked past the children on her way to the mailbox, she wished they would smile or wave, but they never did. The children didn't even seem to notice her. Still, when she saw them, she couldn't help but smile. One winter morning, after the first snow had fallen, all the children were making snowmen and throwing snowballs, all except for one little boy in a blue cap and coat. Even his boots were a dark shade of blue. He stood away from the others with his hands deep in his pockets. When the school bus arrived, he lingered behind and was last in line. As Sarah watched the little boy climb into the bus, she could see one thing. He had no mittens. All that day, Sarah couldn't stop worrying about the little boy with no mittens. Late in the afternoon, as the sky grew dark, Sarah dug through the basket of yarn scraps she had saved for many years. She found her needles and 4 shades of blue wool. Then Sarah began to knit. What do you think she's knitting? Turn and talk to a partner. Sarah worked late into the night. When the sun began to rise, she hurried to the bus stop and hung the mittens on the old spruce tree. From behind the hedge, Sarah watched. The little boy was the first to arrive. He saw the mittens. He reached up and tried them on. They fit! With a big smile, he made a perfect snowball and threw it high into the winter sky. How do you think he's feeling? Soon, a little girl in a red coat arrived. Her mittens didn't match. That night, Sarah knitted with red yarn. Each day, now as Sarah went to the mailbox, she watched for children without mittens. Then she would hurry home and knit. Early in the morning, she would hang the new mittens on the tree. The children loved the game. Each day, they would search under every branch and bough for another pair of mittens. Once or twice, Sarah thought the little boy with the blue mittens had seen her, but he always looked away. Night after night, Sarah knitted mittens in every color. Some had stripes, some had hearts, some even had little snowflakes all over them. Somehow, even though she had never spoken to the children, Sarah felt that they had become her new family. On the last day before winter vacation, Sarah awakened before dawn. She took the empty basket that had once held her yarn and filled it to the brim with mittens. Out the door and down the steps she headed. When she got to the blue spruce tree, she hung mittens on every branch. Oh, wow. This is exciting. Wow, look at that. The boy with the blue mittens was the first to arrive. He stood very still and waited for the others. In fact, all the children stood very still for a few minutes, looking at the mysterious, beautiful mitten tree. Wow. When they boarded the bus, each child now wore a new pair of mittens. Sarah watched as one by one their faces appeared in the bus windows. Still, no one looked her way as she started home. I feel bad for Sarah. But Sarah's heart was full. It was as full as when the sounds of her own children had filled her house. Turn and talk to a partner and ask your partner, why do you think that Sarah's heart was full? As Sarah neared her porch and climbed the steps, she saw something waiting for her. There in the corner was a basket, woven with thick brown vines and decorated with a large white bow. In it were balls and balls of beautiful colored yarn. She's surprised. What do you think put it there? Let's see. To this day, Sarah knits mittens for all the children in her town. Every time her basket is empty, a new full one appears. Sarah doesn't know who the yarn is from. The children still don't know who the mittens are from, but someone must. Here's a hint. Look at the color. So, turn and talk to your partner right now and try to figure out who is leaving the yarn at Sarah's door. And boys and girls, I want you to know that you are doing a great job with the mitten tree. I see so many mittens on the mitten tree, and you are going to make a lot of girls and boys and moms and dads and friends and families very happy.
Thank you, Mrs. Inskadarian, for reading the mitten tree to us. It is such a special story and a great way for Smith schools to help people in need.
Do we have any songs this week, Elise? I really enjoy watching them.
Yes, we do, Colin.
Let's check it out.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November,
you for sharing, Smith School.
That is our show for this week. Thank you for watching the Smith School News Program.
And as Mrs. I would say, remember to make the right choices. The choice is always your own.
Have a great weekend.